Well, thanks for joining us. We're here in Hayward, Wisconsin at the Steakhouse Lodge to talk about Telecommuter Forward, an initiative that was brought forth this April due to some legislation that was crafted by our guests here today and signed by then Governor Walker into law. And we want to, bring light to what the value of that program was and how it's impacting our county, Bayfield County specifically, and what that means for the future of commerce in our area, how we're bringing in technology into the workforce, and really recruiting businesses and residents to leverage what's here in the area to thrive and live and work where they live. So my name is Joe Kohigi. I'm the marketing manager for Nervato, and I'm joined by Chad Young, Scotty Sandstrom, Bill Esbeck, and Angie Dickinson, and I'd like them to introduce themselves to y'all, and we'll start the conversation about Telecommuter Forward.
My name's Chad Young. I'm the CEO and General Manager for Nervato. We provide broadband, telephone, and television services to the majority of Bayfield County here. We're in almost all fiber to the home network at this point, and which we will have fully fiber to the home in 2019. So we continue to bring better services and more capabilities to our membership here in Bayfield County.
I'm Scotty Sandstrom. I'm the Executive Director of the Bayfield County Economic Development Corporation, a position I've been in for almost 8 years, working with businesses throughout the county, and glad to be here to talk about Telecommuter Forward.
My name is Bill Esbeck. I'm the Executive Director of the Wisconsin State Telecommunications Association. We're based in Madison, and we represent rural broadband providers throughout Wisconsin, including Nervato. And we were very excited to be part of the Telecommuter Forward conversations early in the discussion and promote this idea as a way of creating jobs and stimulating economic activity in rural Wisconsin.
My name is Angie Dickinson. I'm Wisconsin State Broadband Director, working out of the Public Service Commission. Our office works with broadband providers and communities to build public-private partnerships to promote broadband expansion across Wisconsin. Additionally, we have the honor of administering the Telecommuter Forward program along with a Broadband Forward Communities program, and happy to be here with you all today.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate it. And I heard a couple threads through this conversation and bringing service to rural communities is at the center point of what we're talking about today. And Nervato's been doing that since 1950 with the first landline in the county, and now fiber to the home, almost 100%, as Chad mentioned, and Scotty working on development programs to bring new businesses and economic development to the county. So it's just all about service. I think that's how this conversation got started. But I think Chad and Scotty, I'd like you guys just to chat a little bit about how did you two get on this topic of telecommuting in the county, and how was that the spearhead for this larger legislation?
Sure. Well, it really started with a conversation between Scotty and myself, and we were discussing, the fiber that we've deployed through our county here, and it really rivals most major metropolitan areas. And we thought, well, how can we leverage that to really bring business and jobs and prosperity to our county here? And so from there, Scotty, frankly, kind of ran with the ball, and that's really where things started from, was saying, how can we leverage this? Because we know we have an asset here that is valuable to people and that we can really bring great jobs to our area and leverage that network further. And from there, Scotty, you took it and sort of ran.
Well, I agree, and I really think that we had a compelling, and we have a compelling story to tell, because here we are, the northernmost county in Wisconsin, with the overall vibrant broadband infrastructure, and we just felt that we could put a definition to how economic development and municipalities and broadband providers come together to grow the commerce of telecommuting.
Absolutely. And it's really, we live in this beautiful area. We have lakes, we have so much recreation. The Birkebeiner is run here, fat tire racing, fishing, hunting, and all those type of things. And folks love to come to our area, but they don't realize that you can actually live and work here today. And that's really what we're trying to get the word out on and show folks that you can telecommute from here, have a great job, and take advantage of all the wonderful resources that we have here in Bayfield County.
Yeah, we have Big Top Chautauqua, the Carnegie Hall of tent shows up in Bayfield, and folks come up and by gosh, they can spend more time because we've got the broadband infrastructure to do that.
So that being the spark that kind of set it all off, we did some stuff within the county. We did some videos and some testimonials, and that was really good. And I think it helped bring some awareness. But how did the conversation go from that to state legislation? It didn't seem like a natural transition, but that happened. So let's talk about that. And then how did Angie and Bill get involved?
Absolutely. Well, and like I said, it was that first conversation that Scotty and I had, and I said, Scotty, what can we do can we get telecommuter certified? How can we highlight ourselves, and what is it? How can we get some designation that shows folks how much we have from there? And so.
Well, I remember seeing the chat. I mean, couldn't we be the telecommuter capital of Wisconsin?
Yep.
And so we were kicking around. Maybe we could kick around some logos, and then I'm going to hand it off to Angie because she'll continue that story.
Happy to. Yes, so it just so happened a few summers ago, I was actually in Bayfield County visiting folks up in the town of Russell to present their Broadband Forward community certification. And I had stopped and had coffee with Scotty, and he raised that very question to me. I'll never forget that day. He had mock-ups of some of the promotional materials, and he said, Angie, can you declare us the telecommuter capital of Wisconsin? And I loved that idea, but I said, I don't have the authority to do that. But I said, I know some folks who would be very interested in having that conversation, and brought your very positive and hopeful message around using broadband infrastructure as an economic development tool back to folks in our broadband stakeholder group. You and I started having conversations with Bill Esbeck, and I think that's a good transition to your role, Bill.
Thanks, Angie. When I was brought into the conversation about Scotty's question, I was very familiar with Bayfield County. I've vacationed here many times. I know it's a wonderful place to live and work and play and raise a family. I'm very familiar with the fiber connectivity that Norvado has. And as Angie relayed the conversation to me that she had had with Scotty, it was obvious that there was a way to use everything that Chad and Scotty had been doing in a very forward-thinking way. There was a way for us to create a framework around that on the state level so that there could be a designation. And we could say yes to Scotty and Chad that, yes, you will be recognized for the work that you've done here. And that was the start of the process. And the lawmakers who became involved from a legislative standpoint built the legislation around everything that Norvado and Bayfield County had been doing already. And it's components of the law that are really critical, like the single point of contact. That's Scotty Sandstrom in the state statutes. It doesn't say his name, but when it says single point of contact for Telecommuter Forward, that's the role that Scotty Sandstrom played as the connect point between the provider community and the local government. And that's really how we started the conversation with folks in the state capitol that led to the creation of the legislation. And then the governor got behind it and signed it into law. And we were very pleased that Bayfield County was recognized as not only the first Telecommuter Forward community in Wisconsin, but the first Telecommuter Forward community in the nation. Earlier this year, when they received that initial designation.
Yeah, something that we've talked about, and we have other information out on the internet. If you are so inclined to go check that out, norvado.com/telecommuter. A little shameless plug there. But you mentioned, Angie, about broadband forward, and I'd like to tie that in a little bit here, because there's been a lot of work done prior to Telecommuter Forward that I think we sort of are resting our shoulders on that. So can you talk a little bit from your perspective of how this plays into, at the state level, what's been going on with broadband that way?
Yes, to borrow a phrase from Bill Esbeck, really, this Telecommuter Forward certification is the third chapter in Wisconsin's broadband expansion story. And starting with our broadband expansion grant program, the state of Wisconsin has awarded 138 grants across the state, totaling over $20 million in funding. Just this last grant round, the largest grant award in state history to Norvado for a project here in Bayfield County and impacting part of Douglas County as well. And so we started with the broadband expansion grant program. Then we established the Broadband Forward Community Certification Program. And that is a voluntary program that recognizes communities that have adopted an ordinance to streamline permitting processes, to remove barriers to broadband infrastructure investment. To date, we've certified 33 communities across the state. We continue to have interest in that program. Understand Bayfield County is likely to be our next Broadband Forward certified community. So just another feather in the cap for folks here in Bayfield County. And then a natural transition to the Telecommuter Forward certification. And what I love about Telecommuter Forward is that for all of the work that all of us have been doing to expand broadband and to bring broadband access to rural communities, this is the chance to do what we've all hoped and dreamed for. The positive outcomes of that public-private partnership and that investment is, let's use this as an economic development tool. And it's really helped me change how I talk about rural broadband issues. As folks here have said, we have rural communities with outstanding broadband infrastructure. So rural broadband has its really high notes and some areas that need to be addressed still, obviously, but we're moving forward and we're using our infrastructure as an economic development tool and as a way to form new partnerships. We've talked about working with Realtors Association and working with employers who are looking for telecommuters. A lot of exciting things on the horizon here, and I just can't thank you all enough. It started here, and so happy to have this conversation today.
And that is a two-way street. I mean, we could not have the network and the fiber that we do throughout our service territory without some of the great programs that we have at the state level. And that's where I really think it's this chapter helps us tell that story of all the great things that we have going on in the state. And without some of the grants that Angie mentioned, it would have been difficult to cover some of the areas that we have to serve. And it's those type of things that have really moved us along. And that's where, from an economic development point of view, it all contributes at the end of the day. And now let's tell our story and show folks how great of progress we've made getting broadband to the residents of Wisconsin here. And that's where the Telecommuter program really brings it together.
I'll add to that too. In the conversations over the last few years with Scotty and seeing what you've done here to promote broadband infrastructure, that's what I love about this Telecommuter Forward program now, is we can bring you together with other communities who are looking to promote their infrastructure. And you set a fine example for folks to follow.
It's great to hear.
That's great. Yeah, in a sense, the hard work it's not done, but a lot of the hard work is done. The infrastructure is in the ground. The grant writing process is over. Getting the funds available to providers has been done. So now with Telecommuter, we're at that point of promotion in a sense, and getting people to recognize what's right here. So that kind of leads us into, Telecommuter. What is it? Telecommuter Forward, I should say. What is it? How does it work? Why does it matter? So I guess throwing it out there to anybody, let's help the viewers understand, what is Telecommuter Forward?
I'll break it down, if I may. A community, in this case, Bayfield County, adopted a resolution making a statement of support of telecommuting and telecommuting options within their community, created the single point of contact that is required in the statute to provide an interface between the provider community, the local government, and other stakeholders. And that's a critical component to the activity and the dialogue on the local level, that it's not just Bayfield County talking to the providers, but it's everyone who has a piece of the story. And Angie mentioned the real estate professionals, maybe it's the builders in the community, or tourism professionals, other economic development entities. Everyone that has a piece of the story can benefit from learning more about what's available and learning how that can create jobs and stimulate economic activity in the local area. And there are requirements for reports back to Bayfield County Board to make sure that they're kept up to speed on what the progress is. But it really is focused on creating that dialogue on the local level in a productive way that allows people to take advantage of the fiber that Norvado has in the ground, coupled with, as I've mentioned, the beautiful area that Bayfield County has to live and work and play and raise a family.
And in the connection, as Bill mentioned, that's our charge, in this, is to connect with the municipalities in the county and say, are there some telecommuting spaces, extra space available if we have an employer that needs that extra space, that needs an office space. So making those connections are important. And then working with the broadband providers, Norvado, CenturyLink, Charter in Bayfield County, and also Bayfield Wireless, that is a fixed wireless new company, to see how they can support those opportunities to come alongside the potential telecommuting employers to grow that commerce.
Absolutely. And I think that there's still a general lack of knowledge about where broadband, like we're able to provide, exists. And I can tell you, I was talking to a customer yesterday who was just overjoyed that we were able to provide the broadband speeds that we are, and that they would have never moved to this area had that not been available. And so it is having a substantive effect, and that's really what we need to continue to do, is tell that story and let the world know you can work in rural America, and you can really have a great job, and there's some real benefits for the employers there too, where you don't have a workforce that's looking to move around, and you have folks that are in a stable position, and maybe they have some great skills. And I think folks would be surprised at how much talent actually exists here in the Northwoods, and that's where bringing that all together is really where we can foster that extra economic development.
In tourism in Bayfield County, it's the lead economic driver. And so many folks come to visit because they love the beauty of the area and they want to stay longer. And they can now and even do some work while they are here because of the infrastructure. And also, many of them are saying, because of the infrastructure, we can make a move here. So they love the area. But what clinches the deal is the infrastructure, so they can come here, they can buy real estate, they can send their kids to school, they're paying taxes, more revenue for the county and the state. So it's a great story.
And we've done some initial analysis on this, and we're finding that with broadband services, tourists or second homeowners in our area are staying up to a week and a half longer every year. And that translates into a considerable amount of dollars that are spent in our area that contribute to our tax base, and it helps develop our local businesses. So it all impacts one another, and that's really the great benefit about being able to tell the telecommuter story and trying to get that word out.
No, that's great. And from our perspective, we hear it all the time from residents. today's economic climate, it's a borderless, it's global. There is no more, you're not bound by brick and mortar as much as you were. So, the workforce is borderless. So from a recruitment perspective for the county, that's fantastic. For retainment of our youth, and we see how the trends in aging demographics in our county are shifting higher and higher. This is another opportunity to let them know, hey, this is what's here. So another great benefit of continuing the prosperity within the county. I just wonder from Angie and Bill, from your perspective, what does Telecommuter Forward mean to the WSTA as well as the PSC?
Well, just from a WSTA perspective, we view this as something that all of our companies can take advantage of and work with their local communities to promote the broadband that they have available and the wonderful communities that they are literally and figuratively woven into the fabric of over, in some cases, more than 100 years. But it's a way to highlight to anyone, if you have a job where you can live anywhere in the world, live in Wisconsin, live in one of our beautiful communities, live in Bayfield County. And if you are a young person who is aspiring to stay in those beautiful rural communities, look at this as your want ad opportunity, because there are jobs that are available online that are probably not listed in the local newspaper, but can afford that quality of life that allows them to stay in the local community in a way that they might not have otherwise been able to. But I've been fielding calls from other WSTA member companies asking me, how did Norvado set up their press event? How did they partner with the real estate professionals? How are they taking these steps that really create the dialogue and the snowball effect on the local level? And that is picking up speed. I think we are hitting double digits statewide already on the number of certified Telecommuter Forward communities. And then from a WSTA perspective, we are very much looking forward to hosting telecommuter job fairs and telecommuter symposiums to bring in all of the certified communities around the state, bring in the single points of contact, the local providers, state officials, and then employers. United Healthcare is one that I point to often. They have thousands of telecommuters nationwide. They need to know more about where the fiber is already in the ground in Wisconsin so that they can view that as an opportunity to seek new employees. And the people living in those communities need to know about the companies like United Healthcare where they can get jobs. So it creates this wonderful two-way street from the perspective of job creation and identifying employees and really creating that economic activity that we all want to see in the long run.
I couldn't have said it any better. What I would add, from the state perspective, again, to me, this program allows us to highlight the work and the commitment that private companies and communities have made to improving their infrastructure. And it gives us the opportunity to show other communities that are perhaps still on that path where they're headed. Because a lot of communities would love to be in this same position. And I love the collaboration around this whole conversation, the collaboration with public and private partners, and the opportunity to share best practices, to share those innovative ideas, and the fact that we can promote some of the most beautiful areas of our state as not only great places to go on vacation, but great places to live. And that broadband access is no longer a barrier to that. And in fact, it really is the welcome mat, not just for investment, but for folks to have a wonderful quality of life. I'm a fan.
And I very much agree. We've been making personal connections to telecommuting companies. We'll continue to do that. But as you're saying, what's just a beauty of all of this, so the collaboration, is that when Bill shares, he's going to, support from the statewide level, bringing more of those opportunities together so we can crank up those efforts even more. And that's just a joyful thing.
Yeah, there really is a compounding effect I'm seeing with the whole effort. And Angie, you mentioned the public-private collaboration, and I just think it's a great case study in showing how government and other agencies, as well as private, like Norvado, can come together, and there's something tangible here that constituents and businesses and other people can actually see. It's like, this is really working. We're seeing our dollars going to good use, and there's some fruit at the end of these efforts. So I think that's fantastic.
I'll add to that, Joe.
Please.
I was amazed at how quickly this all happened. And the reason my opinion, that it all happened so quickly is because it was such a great idea. It was easy for folks to say, oh yes, this is something we should do. This would be a good program for the state. And because Scotty and Chad, you all did such a great job of really identifying the key pieces of it out front, really helped with that lift.
Absolutely. And some of that, and I'll plug Bayfield County here a little bit too, is that I think we have a unique and really special ecosystem in our county here, where it's a public-private partnership, but the county is behind it, the Economic Development Corp is very much behind it. Norvado's there, but so are our local businesses, our chambers of commerce, and sort of everybody really rallies behind these type of things. And I think that's what really makes Bayfield County a great place to live, but it certainly helps to highlight that it is a great place to live because of the fiber assets that we have here and all that we're able to do through that collaboration. So it is special.
And one of our testimonies, a gentleman who we've been using for our marketing pieces that's on our website, he tells a story that, he wanted to move the rural part of our county, bought a hobby farm, brought his family there, and he shared that until he moved there, he could not see the stars as brightly as he could in rural Bayfield County. And it was such a joy to his family. And now he works full-time out of his home. Again, he's paying taxes to the county, the revenue. And as we say in our promotion pieces, he relocated, he's telecommuting, and he loves where he works.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of stories like that, and they're great to hear. And quite frankly, we're all a little bit a telecommuter because today's wireless age is upon us, and work isn't in four walls and a roof anymore. It's everywhere, and it permeates around us. And the fact that we get to do that, whether it be on Lake Superior or in the woods, in and around it in the lodge, or however that may be, it really gives us a unique advantage over other areas. So. That's great.
It does, and Joe, if I could just add, that's one of the things with particularly Bayfield County being a more rural area, business attraction is difficult. Mm-hmm. In other words, you're going to have a hard time getting somebody to put a distribution center in the middle of Bayfield County. It's a little far to those major.
We didn't get the Amazon HQ2.
Right. We weren't quite there. We just missed it. But this is one way where you can bring all those jobs and that prosperity without attracting those businesses to our area. So it really is just a natural fit for rural America to really expand, their capabilities in terms of broadband, because the world is digital, and you don't have to be tied to those major metropolitan areas anymore. And that's where I think it's so valuable, and that's why, frankly, our cooperative has made the investment that we have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, along those lines, Bill, talk about Wisconsin's gigabit business parks and what a wonderful tool WEDC has to help identify those locations across the state, and a number of them here in Bayfield County.
And we do,
right?
up on the edge of Ashland in Bayfield County, we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Angie, for that opportunity to talk about gigabit business parks. Several years ago, we partnered with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to get a handle on where we had gigabit connectivity to business parks throughout the state. We knew we had great gigabit connectivity to our business parks within the WSTA membership, but we didn't know how many, and we didn't know exactly where they were. And through conversations internally, we discovered more than 130 gigabit business parks in rural Wisconsin just within the WSTA membership. And through the conversations with WEDC, we identified the location of those parks. We identified the companies that served them, provided a point of contact at the company, a phone number, an email address, so that interested businesses looking to get gigabit connectivity in those business parks would have an easy way to reach out to those companies. And that really was a great process to go through in terms of helping us understand the depth and breadth of our broadband and our incredibly high-speed broadband to our business customers. Most of those gigabit business parks are served with a 10 gigabit connection. Some are served with a 100 gigabit connection. So there's an incredible speeds available to business customers in Bayfield County as a wonderful complement to the fiber connectivity that you can get as a residential customer here or as a telecommuter working out of your home.
And along those lines, that same kind of concept is what I'm hoping will happen with Telecommuter Forward, where we've got a tool and a platform to promote gigabit business parks. I hope we will also have a similar tool to promote our Telecommuter Forward communities, to help folks connect with that single point of contact, to connect with the providers that are offering perhaps telecommuter packages, and to bring all of those folks together, right?
That's great. So kind of right into the next topic, outcomes. Not just a great marketing tool or a PR tool to have a badge on your masthead or whatever, but Telecommuter Forward, there's really some advantageous outcomes that we see coming out of this. So Angie, you just mentioned great tools to connect and bring people together. Chad, I know Norvado's already started that with some of the realtor things, and so I just would like to hear from each of you what you think might be the outcome.
Well, I view, and it's been mentioned a couple of times, but the real estate has really been sort of the natural evolution for the Telecommuter Forward, because now we're promoting our area, we're talking about the telecommuter capabilities that we have. So okay, we get somebody interested and they want to move here. Okay, well, their next step is, well, they want to look at buying a house. So now we're working with our local realtors to make sure that we're identifying on the property listings that that house has fiber connectivity, so that when folks are looking at our area, they can say, well, there's where I want to live because I know I can work from that location. And so, and our realtors, they're excited to be on board with this. They want to be able to tell that story because they know that it attracts people, and that they want to live places where they can have that high-speed connectivity for them. So it's a partnership between us and our real estate agents with the whole goal of economic prosperity for our area. And so it's just really the evolution, and hopefully we can continue to grow that program and continue to work with more realtors and hopefully branch out into other things with that. So.
And again, it's getting more of the word out. On our BCDC website, we highlight the top telecommuter companies that are hiring, so that for residents and non-residents alike, they can see that those opportunities are there. Also, beginning to work with the high school students, and I know, Chad, you'll talk a little further about this, to have them understand that there's opportunities with training with WITC, the local technical college, and how they partner with WSTA and the Broadband Academy. So there's a lot of opportunities for kids to be exposed that, there's life after high school, and it could possibly be that they could get some extra training and they could build a life here in our region. Again, be a wonderful thing for them to be here for long term.
Yeah, absolutely. There's life during high school too. The entrepreneurial revolution is here too, and the way technology is driving forth e-commerce and different ways to do business online, and Amazon for that matter. There's ways that kids can even get started now if they know there's a path. So, Chad, maybe touch on that, because
Sure.
we got some stuff in the works to try to help that out.
Absolutely. Well, one of the issues that you'll find in Bayfield County, like I think many rural areas of the United States, is that a lot of our youth end up leaving, and they leave for a variety of reasons. Maybe that's to go to university, maybe that's to move to a larger city, maybe that's to find a job. And so we're seeing a need to really try to foster an environment where we can grow the expertise and talent as it relates to IT services, telecommunications, even video services. So we're working closely with WSTA and WITC to develop an apprenticeship program. But even at Norvado, we're starting to look younger now, so that we're looking for the high school students and how can we get them interested in technology type jobs and positions that might be available. So we're working with WITC and WSTA to develop the Broadband Academy and apprenticeship programs to accompany that, but we're also starting younger with our high schools. And we're trying to get students interested in technology type positions. And for that, we have internships at Norvado, but we're also looking into a mentoring program through Inspire Northward, through Visions Northwest, where we'll be connecting with students to help mentor and coach them through the different types of jobs and positions that are available with a company like Norvado. And there's a big opportunity there for all of our local businesses to start connecting with students, whether it be in technology or other fields. But again, it's utilizing some of those platforms like the Inspire Northward to really connect businesses with potential employees. Is what that's for. And then as we move them along, to get them involved in the technical college and into those type of programs. And whether they end up working at Norvado or somewhere else, it's frankly just good for our area, and it's good for our membership and our customers.
Bill, sounds like these guys are keeping you with a full plate with all the initiatives going on and stuff. So these sounds like all great outcomes from WSTA's perspective.
It really has been exciting, and the best part about it, from my perspective, as a member-driven organization, these are ideas that have grown organically from the membership. And it's conversations about how do we help train our current employees to become the next generation of central office managers or CEOs. And that conversation grew into the WITC partnership. And it's a comprehensive online training academy focused on broadband. And we've talked a little bit about the apprenticeship program that is being developed by the Department of Workforce Development. I'm very excited about that moving forward. But one of the significant hurdles that can often occur in the development of an apprenticeship program is the classroom curriculum. To complement the on-the-job training, you have to develop a classroom curriculum. We already have that as an online offering through the WITC Broadband Academy. So we can check that box as we move forward to developing the broadband apprenticeship that will also create the opportunity to have a broadband youth apprenticeship program. So there's so many exciting things happening for our companies and with our workforce and with our communities. It really is a very exciting time to be involved with great people and interesting opportunities, and all for the betterment of the state of Wisconsin and the customers that we represent.
I'm a huge fan of the WITC Broadband Academy program. I had the opportunity to visit there a couple of times over the last few years, and to see these young men and women going through these programs, knowing that they're not only going to have great careers, but have the opportunity to live and work in some of these wonderful communities too. I applaud those efforts.
So Telecommuter Forward, it's the start, but it's not the end. There's so many other things that are a stepping stone off that, as we've heard. Just some really great collaborations and ideas coming out of that. But this group may be a little bit further along than some of the other members in the WSTA and throughout the state. How do we get them involved, Bill, and how can we encourage more people to either sign up or register for Telecommuter Forward or Broadband Forward? Let's give them some tips and how to get started themselves.
Well, very exciting news. As we've had conversations about Broadband Forward and Telecommuter Forward and other broadband initiatives, we've had tremendous partners in the Wisconsin Counties Association. And in conversation with Angie and John Hockemer at the Counties Association, we will be partnering on webinars that focus on Broadband Forward, that focus on Telecommuter Forward, so that we can answer questions about how these programs are working and how they can work for other counties that haven't yet taken that step. So we've got tremendous opportunities to continue to get the message out and continue growing that snowball and increasing the momentum that we already have with this initiative, and being able to point to the success that we have in Bayfield County with Novato. It just allows us in a very straightforward way to talk about how you can use the fiber that's in the ground, the broadband availability, in partnership with the community to create jobs and stimulate economic activity.
Right, absolutely. And I should share that folks could certainly reach out to the State Broadband Office, psc.wi.gov. And we are happy to come out and meet with communities to help you connect with other communities that have taken this step. Just talking with a county this morning who sounds like very much interested in Telecommuter Forward certification. And the question was, well, what do we need to do? Is there a model resolution? There is. So we have all of these documents on our website. We try to make it as easy as possible for folks to go through certification, and are happy to help folks along the way as they choose to take that step. But folks will be in very good company. And again, I have to come back to Novato and Bayfield County. You all are so gracious in taking this step, because it clearly for the benefit of your business and your community, but to share this with the rest of the state. And I understand nationally folks are interested in this type of program for their states too. And that's because of the conversation that the two of you started. So I really commend you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I have the opportunity to meet with my counterparts. Once a year, we get together for a national conference for the individuals that are the executives for their state associations. And I've shared this idea, and I got a very positive response from a number of states that they are going to shamelessly steal this idea. And with thanks to Chad and Scotty and the folks in Bayfield County for being the laboratory, but very excited about sharing this idea on a national basis.
Imitation, great form of flattery.
Bill, how do people get in touch with you? What are the best channels, either directly or at WSTA?
WSTA.info is our website. You can reach me through that, and I'm happy to talk about all things broadband related, and certainly happy to talk all day about Telecommuter Forward.
Well, we certainly could do that. Scotty, any parting thoughts from you? And how do folks get in contact with the Bayfield County Economic Development Corp?
Well, again, the collaboration, as I had mentioned, working with other broadband providers in the county as well, and townships that are working in conjunction, with those providers, defining ways they can strengthen the areas even better. That's continuing to grow in the county as well. And so it's great to have that collaboration continue. And to contact me, BayfieldCountyEDC.com that's our website. My contact info is on there. I'm actually planning to retire at the end of this year, but I told Angie today that I'm still going to be connected with this group and support our efforts. And so I'm just very excited that and very blessed to have been able to have our paths cross in this life, and that we'll continue to work together.
Well, congratulations on that coming up, and we look forward to still having you amongst the ranks here. So thanks, Scotty.
I'm not convinced we're going to let Scotty retire, but but it really is. And I guess on a parting thought, it's really that collaboration, and it's that we all share in each other's success. And I think that our customers and our membership shares in our success as well. And it's really all about let's highlight our capabilities. Let's make sure that everybody knows that there is fiber throughout Bayfield County. It's a great place to live and work. And I can't think of a better place, to be honest with you. So I just encourage everybody to come up to Bayfield County, see what we have going on here, and I think you'll be impressed.
And I would also say, as I mentioned earlier, you come up here, you love the area, and you can stay longer, and the deal will be clinched at some point that you'll want to move here, and it's a big reason because of the broadband infrastructure that you can invest in Bayfield County going forward.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to thank my guests, Chad Young of Novato, Scotty Sandstrom, Bayfield County Economic Development Corp., Bill Esbeck of WSTA, and Angie Dickinson of the PSC. I'd like to again thank the Steakhouse here in Hayward for the lovely accommodations and fireside chat. If you would like to learn more, check out nervato.com/telecommuter for more information on all the topics we've talked about today and future updates from us as well as our guests. Till next time, take care.